We're going to talk about the economic impact of forest damage due to those May tornadoes in northwest Arkansas, plus new WASDE data, and a lot more on today's episode of the Arkansas AgCast, which starts right now.
You're listening to the Arkansas AgCast, where we discuss the latest news, trends, and issues impacting Arkansas farmers and ranchers. Our show is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation and hosted by Jason Brown and John Nickman.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Happy Thursday.
It is Thursday. Yeah.
It's been a long week.
It has.
Says the guy whose office is intact. One of us has had to temporarily move out of his office for some building maintenance.
Yeah.
And he's still got a beautiful smile on his face. Look at that.
You a little uncomfortable right now?
Well, it's all right. It's not that bad.
You know what, though? This morning, I'm in my office working. I'm down the hall from Brian, as you know.
Yep.
And I hear, hey, we're here to work on I'll say the ceiling. I don't,
Yeah.
He's like, hey, we're here to work on the ceiling. And Brian's like, oh, okay. He's like, is this your office? I can imagine you were thinking like, nah, I'm just in here for a minute.
Right.
But then he's like, man, this is a nice office. And I think if I had $1 at this point for everybody who has a comment about Brian Pistol's office.
Brian has a very intricate display of trinkets and memorabilia would be a good term, I guess.
Yeah. My wife calls it baggage.
Yeah.
So,
If
That's
your
a
office
whole
is anything
other
like
deal.
mine, yeah, I have things in my office I can't hang up at the house.
Take home. Yeah.
yes.
Well, we're not in agreement on me hanging them in at the house. So they're all
I call it creative inspiration. She
Yeah.
calls it the things that are not allowed inside our home.
Right.
So, yeah.
I have a similar situation. My wife gifted me a football jersey in a shadow box or whatever one time, and it immediately said, "Yeah, this is for your office." Like, don't even think about
Exactly.
Don't even think about putting this in.
We
here.
have a whole lot of those.
Yeah.
So,
If you were to take the time and look at every single last item in his office, how long do you think it would take?
Oh, to soak it in.
Yeah, to
and
consider each one of them.
I think it would be an hour and a half. Am I short?
I don't know. Maybe.
That's possible.
Just depends on how interested you are in each one of them.
There you go.
Yeah.
See all the Star Wars? I'm just
you got
blazing
this?
right
Wow.
through that.
yeah.
It's impressive.
The Star Wars, I'm moving past it.
Yeah,
real
there's
quick.
some Lord of the Rings stuff in there you're going to ignore
But-
too, probably.
I get to YouTube, it's like, well, music, I'm a little bit more interested in this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Let me see. What else is happening? Man, back to school. Monday for us. I don't know. You guys are in school kind of all the time, yeah?
Yeah, we've had the last 3 or 4 weeks off for their summer break or teacher training, something like that for daycare. So he starts back, I think, Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. Your grandkids, are they back, going back? I know they're kind of spread out
They are.
geographically. but-
Yeah. The ones North Little Rock, they're back
yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Have had a few days and have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's good kickoff. They're glad to be back.
Why do schools start on like a Thursday or Friday?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question. I have some guesses.
Easy adjustment or something?
I think it's like what kind of weighed in. I was talking to somebody here at the office the other day. Their kids were starting on Wednesday, and it was like a half day.
Yeah.
I know some of our friends in another part of the state did a Thursday and Friday as the first. Just started with 2 days, and then they came back for.
Well, they've got to be in class so many days of the year, right? So maybe it has something to do with how it falls.
Maybe that's right too.
Something to that effect, yeah.
Maybe.
But in other parts of the country, like the West Coast, for instance, I mean, we've got family out there, and they still don't start until after Labor Day.
Yeah.
Which is kind of how our parents were in school, if I recall. Get past Labor Day before you get started.
It was always middle of August from what I can remember.
Yeah.
For
same.
whatever reason, the 18th or 17th, which is,
Yeah, right
next
where we
week,
are. Yeah. Anyway, So I thought we might talk about a little bit about school time memories here. I wonder if either of you guys have like a favorite teacher. Maybe it's a favorite grade that really just stood out to you.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that it probably would not have been in high school. I don't know, or just definitely not junior high. I don't know, maybe. But is there a grade or teacher who really stood out to you as being impactful, or maybe the opposite?
We'll leave that part out.
Who knows?
This might sound odd, but
Yeah.
I had a really good kindergarten teacher,
Yeah.
Miss Lisa.
I was thinking about my kindergarten teacher.
And my
actually.
first grade teacher, Miss Stroh, was great. Third grade teacher, Miss Hobson.
Yeah.
She's always really stood out amongst the rest. I'm trying to think.
Do you keep in contact with any, or have you, I know you go home quite a bit, or
I will say
you ever
that my
see
mom's
any
a
of them?
teacher, or is. Yeah, still
Yeah.
she's retired from the school district, but she's at the community college. And then we got two cousins, my mom's cousins, that are librarians.
Yeah.
Or they're retired too, but they were the Stuttgart High School and Stuttgart Junior High librarians for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, that's probably where my recognizing them. Yeah, of course.
Elementary. Elementary school.
Elementary, probably. But I had some really good high school teachers, Miss Kathy Perslowski in chemistry.
Yeah.
She knew how terrible I was at chemistry, so she
Took extra time with you? She didn't just write you off?
She was also my tutor too outside of school. So yeah,
Nice.
What about you?
thinks, for me, I think about my kindergarten teacher. She was just so, so kind and gentle, like the picture of a kindergarten teacher, I think about her. I had one teacher 3 different years, which was kind of crazy.
Interesting.
4th grade, and then she moved to junior high and had her in 7th and 8th grade. So by that 3rd year, parent-teacher conferences, she was like, you guys know the drill. He talks too much. Pretty good in school, pretty good student, but he talks way too much. Kind of funny.
yeah,
But yeah, I will say I don't have a year or a teacher or anything really that I just sort of is dreadful to think about. Mm-hmm. Pretty good experience.
well, that's good.
Growing up. Yeah. And now I'm married to a teacher. So,
There you go.
There you are.
get to continue that on.
See, you missed an opportunity there. You could have said, she's my favorite teacher.
God,
See,
I sure did, didn't I?
you did. Missed that one.
I did.
Sorry, Heather.
God, sorry. Yeah, I really bungled that up.
Yeah. Enjoy your weekend.
Oh, me. Well, did you have a subject that you...
You bring this up. I was on the way to a PD meeting the other day, and I don't know why that popped in my head. What was? I think it was either social studies or Arkansas history.
Okay.
Now, if we're talking about like elementary or high school, or whatever, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, recess.
Recess. Heck yeah, buddy. Lunchtime.
Yeah, driver's ed was fun.
See,
We had one of our football coaches as the teacher. So.
Oh, really?
Right. That was always the way, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The coaches always were the driver ed.
Yeah. Or health class, another football coach.
Right.
Yeah.
I was in the work program, so I got out the last period of high school.
So jealous of you guys.
So that was a good class.
I always had a class 7th period, and so I could never do that.
Yeah.
That program, but I was really jealous of the people who did. Brian, did you have a subject that that you just seem to latch onto or do really well in, or like?
It was always math and English.
Yeah?
Really. Yeah.
That's
those are
interesting.
always- Those were always the two that I gravitated towards.
Whatever the opposite of gravitating towards is what I did with math.
Yeah.
Terrible at it, which is really funny. Since public relations is my profession, that's like a huge joke in our industry. Is like I'm in PR because I can't do math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and like no matter where you go in the country, no matter who you talk to, like the math joke sticks around for PR people.
In another universe, I am a very serious CPA.
Yeah. Well,
That was what I was. I thought I was either going to be a CPA or an architect. So
that's fascinating. And the fact that you work in a creative space now that's very interesting
Yeah, it was always creative, but it was very much around numbers and preciseness.
Don't
and
they
all that
correlate,
kind of
though?
stuff, so.
What's that?
Like most like artists, I guess, are more mathematically inclined.
Oh man, there's math all
Yeah.
over the place with
Yeah.
that stuff. You
Yeah.
gotta be.
Yeah.
You gotta be.
Creativity and math, I've always kind of thought were side by side or kind of followed each other.
Yeah, I guess sometimes
Maybe not for drummers.
exactly. I think about math or accounting as a very rigorous, and I always think about art. Creative is not. Obviously, there's got to be rigor there,
Yeah.
but just kind of being that sort of free space. I don't know.
But we grew up with calculators all throughout college
Yeah.
too.
Uh-huh.
I had calculators in econ classes. So like, I don't know, not to tell myself, but you think of an economist that can just pop off numbers out of their head. I got to have a calculator. But like, if you teach me an equation and do all the steps, I'll memorize that just almost
Really?
immediately. Yeah.
Huh.
But
Interesting.
like up here, no paper, no calculator. It's not gonna just rattle off.
I remember in 7th grade, our math teacher, Miss Nicholson was her name. She was like, "You're not going to use calculators on this test. You're going to work it all out."
Yeah.
She's very strict about the calculator
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And we get to 8th grade, and that teacher's like, "There's never going to be a circumstance in life where you don't have a calculator available to you. So
Yeah.
better to learn how to use a calculator and do it."
Yeah.
It's like, wow, just kind of a 180 there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had no calculators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were not allowed all through high school.
Now they got cell phones in their pockets. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then in college, you had to buy the TI 89 for, $300 or whatever and
Yeah.
figure out how to use that thing.
I love that calculator. I really did.
You truly have your economist roots.
I'm sure
John.
mine's somewhere. I bet it's in my parents' house, or maybe it's in my old box of college stuff.
I bet that's an app now.
Yeah,
That
Probably.
you just download. And
You're probably right. Probably
golly,
is.
man.
Probably is.
had games on it and everything.
I
It's
remember.
great.
All I knew is I was not using this thing as full potential. That big screen on there, I'm like, I'm not using this thing
Right.
for what it could be used
Yeah.
Right.
for.
Yeah.
You could store stuff in that calculator too.
Look at you. I feel like you might drop a tear.
There was a reason why they wouldn't let us use them like after college. I think in grad school we went to like regular little desktop plus minus divide type calculators, real simple ones.
That's funny. All right. Well, if you're going back to school on Monday, wish you the best of luck. Hope you got the teacher you wanted, and have a great school year.
Absolutely.
Let me see what else. The other season we are in, Farm Bureau terms, is policy development season. We kind of talked about those summer commodity division meetings as being the kickoff, unofficial kickoff, as it were, to policy development season. And buddy, you've been on the road.
I have. My wife's got to work a little later on Thursdays, so I'm kind of off on those days. But I try to pick up policy development. In case listeners don't know, we as staff tried to have somebody available at each one of these policy development meetings in
That's a
each
good
county, so we can be there as a resource for our membership. So yeah, you've got some long nights or early mornings. Went to Bradley County the other morning. They treated me to breakfast. Oh, it was great.
Man, did you get any tomatoes?
No, didn't get any tomatoes, unfortunately. I had to rush back here for a shower / baby shower. Wedding / baby shower.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far PD season's been good. There's a lot of hot topics and issues and really good discussion. That's as a staff member, I'm there hoping there's going to be some good discussion. And it gives you an opportunity, talk about myself, to learn more about what they're dealing with, say in Arkansas County compared to Benton County or Crawford County versus Hot Spring County. And it's interesting to see the variety, the complexity of everything that goes on around the state.
Concerns. Yeah, that's I love going to those policy development meetings because you really get to hear the inner workings of challenges. We talk about on this show, we paint with sort of broad strokes, economic issues, commodity prices, whatever that may be. But when you go and sit down in a policy development meeting, I mean, you are getting down in the dirty details of driver's license restrictions and things like that. I mean,
a bridge in
whatever
that county that needs
be.
funding to be fixed and stuff like that. But and also just to back up, our policy development is where all the policy within Farm Bureau comes from.
Yes.
So none of it starts at the state or regional or national level. It starts within that county in the state and then moves its way up the ladder. Yeah. But what I have been seeing over the last 4 years is more of a interest in district policy development meetings.
As a region?
Yeah, so a regional meeting of several counties will meet at a particular location and talk about issues to kind of see if those are the same issues they're having in those other counties.
Yeah.
And then they take those back to their individual counties and discuss them. So it's another opportunity for other counties to listen to like-minded issues or maybe an issue they didn't know about that they do have. And it spurs a lot of good conversation.
Is that sort of an organic process?
Yes.
Counties start doing that kind of
So we've got a policy development book that we come out with for the counties every summer. And that kind of helps guide the conversation. But if that county has something particular to them or something that's not in the book's just there as a guide or an assistant to help move the conversation. We're not there as staff trying to get them to, this is needed. We're not telling them what to do by any means. We're just there to help. So,
well, what's interesting, you talk, and then we'll move on. But you talked about how it starts at the county level, and I've been in, a lot of these meetings. You and I were in one together on Friday.
Yes,
and oftentimes, it starts at the county level, but every time it starts with one person standing up and saying, "Here's my challenge.
Yeah,
here's what I've got going on that I'd like to see addressed, or here's the opportunity."
Yeah,
and then you start to see the heads nodding around the room or agreement or, I've got that too, or whatever that may be. And that's really how it gets to that county level.
Yeah. It's another opportunity, kind of like what we say about surveys, or public comment periods. Let your voice be heard. It's an opportunity to have, that issue you're dealing with come up. And I say this a lot, especially to our specialty crop division or people that are interested in seeing what we do in the division, or while we as staff or as organization don't do anything unless it's in that policy book or if it's what the membership wants. So if there's a specialty crop issue out there and say we don't have it brought up in the division, it's not brought up because you, the individual, weren't there to bring it up.
Right.
We can't work on a particular issue or help or assist or advocate on a topic without you, advising us what that is and what needs to happen to fix it or help push it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, just a lot to say about let your voice be heard, and this is a platform to do so. Yeah,
very, very cool process to be a part of and very important process. Let me see what other things on the list before we get into news real quick. We were at a meeting yesterday. I was talking to somebody and was reminded that the Northeast Arkansas Rice Research Center, I don't know if they claim Harrisburg or Jonesboro, but it's right there on Highway 1 South between the two.
Seen it yet.
I haven't been in there, but I've seen a lot of photos of it. They've got a grand opening ribbon cutting ceremony on August 30th. So if you're interested, try and make it out to that. I do know that they have already hosted their first rice field day up there.
Yes.
I believe that was on August the 8th. And from what I read, they had something like 250 people in attendance, which is huge for a field day. So cool facility in Northeast Arkansas, committed or centered around the rice industry there. August 30th, the grand opening for that.
That should be nice.
Yeah.
I hear it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks cool. Like I was seeing the outside of the building in some cases looks like a grain bin or a silo.
I'd heard that too.
And it looks pretty neat. But cool. Anyway, anything else on your mind?
I've brought it up several weeks in a row, the farmers market at the state convention. Our application site or window is softly closed.
Okay.
So I say that to say if you are still interested in applying for that, please do so, or please call me. But I will say that the winners will be announced September 1st.
Okay, so I know you extended that deadline a little bit, but you're still keeping that.
Yeah, okay. I'm still keeping it open. Just I know, communication doesn't always reach everybody at the same speed. So
that's right.
And we've had some inquiries in the last few weeks and asking if it was still open, if they could still apply. So it is technically closed, but it is technically still open.
Yeah. But you're still announcing on September 1st regardless.
Yeah. And just to remind people, we have 40 spots available. That's 10 up from 30 from the year before. We had a lot more this year and last year is a theme that we've had more people apply than we have space for.
Nice.
And we even opened it up to 10 more people. Or 10 more booth spaces.
Good deal.
So if you do want to apply, to sum it up, apply. But preferably before September 1st.
Yeah, get it done.
Maybe even earlier than that would be a great help. But yeah, it should be a great success.
Call John and get on the application.
Email
list.
me, call me.
We can't give your cell phone.
Find somebody that knows me. I'm not hard to find.
I can tell you that.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick look at crop progress and quality. We're going to look at statewide numbers here, and then later on in the show, we will take a closer look at the WASDE data for the global. But yeah, corn quality right now is at 79% good to excellent in the state. Mm-hmm. That's a 3-point jump over last week, so good to see that. 55% of that crop's matured, nearly a 20 point increase from last week. So that is happening rapidly. Rice quality is at 78% good to excellent, holding steady over the last week. 93% of the crop is headed. Soybeans are at 72% good to excellent, holding steady also since last week with 28% coloring. And I just want to make the point that's more than double where we were last week when we reported. Cotton quality is at 76% good to excellent. There's some improvement over last week. 28% bowls opening. That has also doubled since last week.
Cool.
So that crop is coming along really quickly. Peanut quality is at 87% good to excellent, holding steady. Vegetables around 49%, still holding steady now. We had seen week over week decreases in quality there, but looks like maybe it hit the floor. Pasture quality is 49% good to excellent. Another big drop over last week.
Yeah.
That has to be due to lack of moisture.
Yeah. I've been watering the yard quite a bit lately.
But I will tell you, you heard it here first.
Did I?
I have heard of rice and corn and, believe it or not, soybean harvest happening in the state. So that's pretty remarkable.
I'm surprised. I guess I'm not surprised, but kind of how early the rice is.
Yeah.
And how many people told me they're going to be harvesting rice before corn that do have corn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's here. I'm excited.
So.
I really enjoy harvest. Like,
yeah.
Even in my past job, that was my favorite time of the year. Even as a kid, harvest just 100%
I know.
favorite
It's
time
just, for sure. And
if you've never played in the back of a grain truck full of soybeans,
buddy,
you're missing out.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Dangerous as all get out.
Jumped in a cotton trailer,
Yeah.
I don't think they can even do that anymore. Meaning, like you don't really.
Yeah, they have
put
cotton,
it in a trailer.
Yeah, there's not cotton modules anymore. There's like giant cotton bales.
Bales, yeah.
Anyway, maybe you jump from one to the next if they stack them right.
Let's do it. We'll go, I'll take the camera and you do the jumping.
We're gonna have to reverse that process. It ain't gonna be me. I don't need a fifth or sixth knee surgery. I don't jump.
All right.
I'm scared. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start off with a story today.
Okay.
As we all know, back in May, Northwest Arkansas was hit pretty hard by tornadoes. Well, the Arkansas Center for Forest Business, University of Arkansas at Monticello, has released an estimated economic impact the storms had on the timber in the region. We picked up this story from Arkansas Money and Politics, where they also included a great infographic of how the center came up with its total estimate. For May 26th, the National Weather Service reported a record number of 17 tornadoes across the state. Of the 17, one tornado left a path of destruction nearly 2 miles wide across Benton County. Mm-hmm. Across 12,400 acres, including the counties of Benton, Madison, Marion, Baxter, and Fulton counties, the Arkansas Department of Agricultural Division of Forestry estimated the tornadoes destroyed $18.4 million worth of timber. Yeah. However, that estimate only includes the value of the timber itself. Since I'm an economist, I found this quite interesting.
Yeah.
So the Arkansas Center for Forest Business analyzed the full economic impact of the timber loss, which takes into account the cost of hazard reduction, loss in labor due to timber not being harvested, carbon storage loss, which I found be interesting.
Yeah, sure.
And losses of both local and state revenue taxes, or tax revenues, excuse me. With all that considered, the center estimated the total economic impact to be $89 million across those counties. As large as that number seems, there's another issue that could cause this number to grow if not addressed. According to Dr. Matthew Pelkey, director of the Arkansas Center for Forest Business and professor at the UAM College of Forestry, the environmental impact of not properly caring for the fallen timber could be detrimental to the ecosystem, and that those lands are very susceptible to seeing an infestation of native pests and fire hazards. He was quoted saying insects such as bark beetles and red oak borers could thrive in the fallen timber and then start affecting living trees around the area. Then there is a fire hazard. It is important that Arkansas's forest landowners work with foresters to manage their forests for greater resiliency to insects, diseases, and climate events. And one of the tools for that is timber harvesting, which is a little bit difficult given that the marketability of timber right now is not the greatest.
Right, yeah.
Lastly, I should also note that if you are a forest landowner in northwest Arkansas and have been impacted by these tornadoes, you can contact the Arkansas Department of Agriculture Division of Forestry to inquire about the financial assistance available from the Farm Service Agency, or FSA. So needless to say, that's a huge dollar amount.
Yeah.
And something that we won't recoup.
That labor piece, man, that was, I mean,
yeah.
You don't even think about that. I mean, I know there's, like you said, carbon storage and other things, but goodness
And
gracious.
if you have an opportunity, I didn't list them here. It's a breakdown of each one of those categories and what their value is.
Yeah.
And that infographic, I thought that was really interesting, too.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. All right. Well, that's a good one. Like I said earlier, we covered the crop quality and progress for Arkansas, but now let's talk a little bit about global supply and demand perspective and production too. We'll start here with the corn crop, which USDA is forecasting to have record yield at just over 183 bushels an acre, up 2.1 bushels per acre from last month's projection, and up 3.3 bushels from last year's record, and staying above the trend line here. Corn production for the 24-25 season is forecast at 15.1 billion bushels. That's up almost 50 million bushels from last month, as a 0.7 million acre decline in harvested area is more than offset by an increase in yield. Projected beginning stocks for 24 and 25 are 10 million bushels lower, based on slightly higher use forecast for 23-24.
Yeah.
So a little bit higher, lower on the supply side, but but we're going to grow a lot of it, or we're going to harvest a lot of corn to offset that. For soybeans, USDA is calling for another annual yield record at just over 53. I think it was 53.1 to be exact bushels an acre, with a total output of 4.6 billion bushels of beans. That's a 154 million bushel increase on higher area and yield over last year. Yeah. So planted acres and production is going up. The August WASDE, where all these numbers came from, and crop production report also reported 1 million additional planted acres of soybeans. Yeah. That wasn't in the last. Right. So overall, soybean production is up over 10% from last year, and ending stocks are up 24% from just the July report alone. Soybean supplies for 2024 and 25 are projected at 4.9 billion bushels, up 11% from last year. So you see the picture that we're starting to paint.
And hopefully supplies that offsets crop prices.
Yeah. Moving on to rice, the outlook for 24 and 25 U.S. rice this month is for reduced supplies, unchanged domestic use and exports, and lower ending stocks. Mm-hmm. So the first survey-based 24-25 production forecast reduced total rice production by nearly 1 million hundredweight to just over 220 million. Most of the reduction came in long grain production. The average all rice yield is forecast at 7,623 pounds per acre, down 22 pounds from last month. Wrapping up the U.S. cotton estimates for 24 and 25 show a lower acreage production, exports, and ending stocks compared to last month. According to the first survey-based estimate of U.S. production. We are 15.1 million bales down. Down 1 million. I bungled that. We're at 15.1 million bales of cotton for production, down almost 2 million bales from last month's WASDE forecast. All cotton planted area is lowered in the crop production report by about 500,000 acres.
Wow.
While abandonment is estimated at 23%. That's up 6 points from last month. As a result, the estimated harvest area of a little over 8.5 million acres is about 11% lower than the July WASDE forecast. So we've seen a lot of movement between July and August WASDE here is the point. From here on out, it will be important to watch crop quality, something that we report on every week. There's a reason we do that. A lot of this analysis was brought in by Betty Resnick at American Farm Bureau.
Yeah.
And she said, August is the most important month for soybean growth and development, so everyone's watching the weather to see what happens for the rest of this month and see how that impacts yields.
Yeah.
An important reminder here, the August report is the first month that we have survey and satellite data informing yield estimates for both corn and soybeans, which may be why you see some of those big jumps. It also incorporates Farm Service Agency certified acreage data into its crop production estimates. So we're getting closer to an end result on those crop production estimates.
Yeah.
In terms of reports every Monday, generally we get crop progress and condition reports, which is what we report on here with the Arkansas data. The next major crop production and WASDE reports will be out September 12th. Of course, we'll have that information for you when that comes out. So, yeah, I mean, there you go. Kind of an interesting picture. A lot of crop. I heard an analyst say this week, big crops just get bigger.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard that before, and I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm an economist, so supply and demand kind of fall into that too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But, if you want to look at some of our or more information on the WASDE, our division updates, commodity division updates will have these reports, WASDE reports for that specific commodity.
Oh, nice.
So you'll get some more detail there if you get those emails.
Are those going out soon?
Yes.
Okay.
This week.
Good to
So
know.
yeah,
All right.
Y'all be prepared.
All right. Well, we will.
They do a hard
Look,
editing.
we just learned about that. How about that?
Well, you want to take a short break and hear about how you can keep rural roads safe across Arkansas?
Let's do it.
Arkansas farmers and ranchers work 7 days a week. That means when you hit the road, you may be sharing it with farm equipment, especially if you're traveling along rural roads and county highways. Farm equipment moves slower than our pickup trucks and minivans. They may not have the safety lights and turn signals of our family vehicles either. The trucks and tractors moving down the road need extra room to make turns, cross bridges, and move through intersections too. We all get in a hurry sometimes, but it's important that we all stay safe, no matter if we're headed to buy groceries or grow them. So next time you're cruising past a pasture or field, keep an eye out for farmers. They'll be sure to keep an eye out for you too. If we all work together, we can make sure Arkansas is cultivating safe roads.
I've got another story. You want to hear it?
You do?
No? Are you surprised that I do have another one?
Well, you said that like it was a surprise.
I don't have to give it. If you want the stage.
I've read the words hamburger and pork chop, so I think we should dive in.
We hadn't talked about food yet, so here we go. Inflation has been a popular word for a few years now, and for good reason. But according to agriculture.com, the food inflation rate is the lowest since May of 2021.
Oh, nice.
Over the last 12 months, food prices have risen by 2.2%. Hamburger and pork chops cost more now than they did last July, but cheese, rice, and potatoes cost less, according to the Labor Department. I found that kind of weird the Labor Department was reporting on that, but in the article, that's what it said.
Okay.
Also, the July Consumer Price Index report, or CPI, shows the overall U.S. inflation rate of 2.9%, is the lowest since March 2021. Since February, the food inflation rate has been 2.2% in each month except May, when it was 2.1%.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So food inflation peaked at an annualized rate of 11.4% in August of 2022.
Yeah.
It's pretty high.
Yeah.
Before this year, the last time it was 2.2% was in May 2021.
Wow.
More specifically, meat, fish, and poultry prices are up 3% a year from a year ago. Cereal and bakery product prices are unchanged, and prices for dairy products and fruits and vegetables fell 0.2%. As I mentioned, pork chops, right? Mm-hmm. Their prices are up but cost 7.4% more than a year ago, and ground beef is up 4.2% from a year ago. Mm-hmm. The price of cheese is down 2.3%, rice is down 3.7%, and potatoes are down 4.7%. So, as a way to measure consumers' estimates on inflation, I found this really interesting. Purdue University's Center for Food Demand and Analysis created the Consumer Food Insight Survey or CFI, where they surveyed 1,200 Americans. Mm-hmm. According to an analyst for the center, the consumer food inflation estimate for the past 12 months and expectations for the next 12 months are the lowest they have been since the inception of the CFI survey. In the cost or the most recent survey, participants estimated the food inflation rate is at 5.4% for the past year, and said that food prices would rise 3.2% in the 12 months ahead. Both estimates were lower than in preceding months.
Oh, okay.
Survey respondents reported spending $191 a week on groceries and restaurants during July, which is $3 less than July 2023. I found that interesting.
Moving in the right direction.
I wouldn't say that $3 is like the biggest impact, but
right,
it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So just to cap this off and get through all these boring numbers, USDA forecasts food inflation of 2.2% this year and 2% in 2025.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Which would be the lowest since 1.9%, which was in 2019.
So some pre-COVID benchmarks there.
But over the past 20 years, food prices have risen by an average of 3% annually.
Okay.
So let that sink in.
Yeah,
we're above that, or we have been, I should say.
Tough to swallow. Yeah.
So good news, kind of, but also not some good news.
Yeah. Yeah.
Inflation isn't gone.
Well, no, but we did see not what we're reporting on here, but we did see was seemingly a good report on inflation that might imply that the Fed continues with their plan for rate cuts.
Yeah, you and I talked about that the other day.
Yeah.
And I hope it all works out.
Yeah. I mean, we won't know until we know.
Stuff's expensive, man, and I'm about tired of it.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Let's just start a commune. Live together, share our resources. That's the answer.
A commune with all of our TIs.
Yeah.
That's it. All right, one more as we bring a close to the news today. I speak for both of us, I think, when I say welcome to the wild world of Arkansas agriculture podcasting, to the Morning Coffee and Ag Markets podcast.
There you go.
That's right. Arkansas Ag Extension economists have launched a new weekly podcast aimed at giving farmers commentary on economic issues. Anchoring the podcast each week is Riley Smith, Agriculture, Economics, and Agribusiness Program Associate with U of A Extension. A couple of names familiar to our Farm Bureau family here. Ryan Loy and Hunter Byram will alternate weeks co-hosting the show. Mm-hmm. According to a press release, the show is the brainchild of Ryan and Hunter, both extension economists. The podcast launched July 24th and has 4 episodes available now. Byram and Loy will alternate weeks at the microphone, as I mentioned. So far, their topics have included farm bill proposals and the spread between input and output prices.
Yeah.
They say future episodes could expand to roundtable discussions with industry experts, farmers, and others to discuss ongoing issues in the ag industry. So good news.
That's awesome.
You and I have talked about this quite a bit, and we're glad to see the interest in ag news and information specifically in the podcast world grow.
This is a little bit far timeline back a little bit from this, but we had a lot of turnover. Or I guess just transition of people retiring and younger people coming into staff here at Farm Bureau. I feel like the ag department or ag econ department, their extension kind of had a similar thing.
Oh, yeah.
And Ryan and Hunter and James Mitchell and several others that I'm leaving out kind of all came in the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
They've really kind of pushed and brought new energy, not to cut out what was there before them.
Sure.
But all I'm saying is they've done a really, really good job in this podcast I think is just going to add to their list of tools and resources they have for farmers. They've done a really good job in all of our division meetings, and we kind of pride ourselves here at Farm Bureau, the working relationship we have with their department and how good of a job they do and how great of a resource they've been to our membership too.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a strong bench over there.
Yeah. Now, if you start pulling away people from our podcast now, buddy, I'm going to have to come after both of you.
Well, listen, I got an idea.
Yeah.
Why don't we invite one of them on?
We could.
I mean, what do you think about that?
I think that's a really good
idea. As a deep dive, we could bring one of them on, kind of talk about some economics and ag, for one. But also just kind of help them promote the.
I don't know. Would one get jealous over the other if we didn't invite both of them?
Maybe so. We don't have enough seats. We just explained to them, hey, listen, man, there's 2 seats in here. So y'all
well,
fight
I
it
saw
out.
them at our O&L meeting. They told me nothing about this podcast.
Do you?
I'm giving them a hard time because I know them that well.
They're no podcast boys.
No, they can't take that away from us.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
we were
right.
here first.
Dan's term of the podcast boys. I saw Dan yesterday. He didn't use that term once, and I was very surprised.
There you go.
Well,
Anyway, all right. Well, here we are at the end.
exactly. And I know what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
You're trying to add one more to the mix
Yeah.
Yeah.
to outweigh the.
We should. Yeah, that's it. That's what we're trying to do.
I just want to talk about the Razorbacks. You want to ignore him and
Yeah,
talk about football?
I mean,
You can ignore me all you want.
do.
It's all good. It's all good. Just remember, I'm controlling everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say
So-
he'll just mute our mic
stuck
and start
here.
asking questions.
Yeah,
All right.
All right.
I know you guys miss me. So
every day.
yeah. So, what's it going to be?
I think I go first.
Yeah, go for it.
General. Before you have a chance. To
General,
take
it
from me.
is. Okay.
Oh boy, that's an evil smile on
Yeah.
your face, isn't it?
I haven't even read the question. So, this is the Southeast Asian method of dyeing fabric using wax to create designs.
You're looking for the name of that method?
Tie dye.
No.
Staining.
Did I mention it was the Asian method? So there's a name.
There's a language barrier there too.
Yeah.
True. It's batik
Batik.
or batik. It's
Batik?
B-A-T-I-K. So,
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'll have to
we wouldn't
take that
have
home with
gotten
me
that.
tonight.
Yeah, you will.
I mean, you will. So,
Use that.
It was on the tip of my tongue. Yeah.
All right.
okay.
Let's go with, is music on there or entertainment?
Entertainment.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Okay. And it is music.
Oh, okay. How about that?
The song "A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes" was originally featured in what Disney film?
Lion King.
Aladdin. I've never heard of that song.
Neither. Cinderella.
Cinderella. Old school.
Yeah,
Vintage
that is old
Disney. Yeah. More
General again.
Give him a chance at redemption.
What's the longest running U.S. game show?
You definitely get the hardest one.
The longest running U.S. game show.
This is a gimme.
There's
come
only
on.
2 it could be.
The Price is Right or Family Feud.
Yes.
Man,
Which one?
Family Feud's old, but so is Price is Right.
Jeopardy
Jeopardy?
is up there.
Jeopardy's old too. But Jeopardy's not one of them.
No, Price is Right. I think. I'm going in on Price is Right.
You're going Price is Right? Man, I really like Price is Right. I don't really care for the Family Feud. Even when it was, well, I guess I'm going to say Price is Right.
Very good.
Yeah.
If I had the
Ding,
ding
ding.
ding 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 ding, exactly. That's right.
Give me $1, Bob.
I'd make the lights go and all that kind of stuff, but we just don't have that tech down here.
No,
do
we don't.
So
You know what?
And it's a new dinette set.
I was waiting for you guys to go in on Family Feud or one of the others. I was
Yeah.
going to say the price is wrong.
The price is wrong, Bob. One of my favorite movie quotes
That's
ever.
right. Love it.
Ever.
Love
ever.
it.
All right. Well, look, that wraps up the news for this week. Thanks for following along with the Arkansas AgCast. We're grateful for you taking the time to watch and listen.
Absolutely. Remember, you can catch new episodes of the show every Thursday afternoon. Find video episodes on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the audio version wherever you listen to podcasts.
Please make sure to subscribe and leave us a review when you have a few extra minutes. The Arkansas AgCast is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau. I'm Jason Brown.
And I'm John McMinn.
And we'll see you next week.